Welcome to our deep dive into the world of oysters. If you thought these slimy sea creatures were just a fancy appetizer, think again. We've got 10 surprising and little known oyster facts that will leave you feeling like a true oyster expert. From their ancient origins to their supposed aphrodisiac powers, we're covering it all in this video. So grab your shucking knife and get ready to discover a whole new side of these beloved bivalves. Get ready to be shell-shocked by these top 10 oyster facts you didn't know. Gulf oysters used to have a different identity. Alright, oyster aficionados, get ready to have your mind blown. You may have thought that Gulf oysters were the only ones with a fascinating naming history, but it turns out that blue points and Quonset points are also part of the name game. Despite coming from different locations, these oysters are all the same species, just with different names based on where they are harvested. And speaking of Gulf oysters, did you know that they used to be named after specific bays before being lumped together into one category? It's true. But who knows what the future holds? Maybe we'll see a return to more specific names in the future. So, the next time you are ordering oysters and you see a name that you're not familiar with, don't be afraid to ask your server for more information. You never know, you might just learn something new about the fascinating world of oysters. Most American oysters are of the same species. Listen up, oyster lovers, we've got a fact that might surprise you. Despite the many different regions where American oysters are harvested, the majority of them are actually the same species. That's right, whether you are chowing down on oysters from the Gulf of Mexico, Chesapeake Bay, or the coast of Virginia, chances are you are eating Crassotria virginica. Don't let that fool you though, this little mollusk packs a flavorful punch. Now, before you start rolling your eyes and saying, duh, hear us out, just because these oysters are all the same species, that doesn't mean they all taste the same. Just like a wine from Napa Valley can taste vastly different from a wine from the Loire Valley, an oyster's flavor profile can be greatly influenced by its specific environment and growing conditions. So, the next time you're slurping down a delicious oyster, take a moment to appreciate the subtle nuances of flavor that make it unique. And remember, just because two oysters are the same species, that doesn't mean they can't be wildly different in taste and texture. Now, who's hungry? Oysters are like multivitamins for your body. Are you looking for a food that's both delicious and packed with nutrients? Look no further than the humble oyster. They are packed with nutrients and minerals such as zinc, iron, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids. First up on the nutritional roster is zinc. Oysters are loaded with this essential mineral, which is crucial for everything from wound healing to immune function. Plus, oysters are a great source of calcium and magnesium, two minerals that are important for strong bones and teeth. But wait, there's more. Oysters are also rich in protein, selenium, and vitamin A, all of which play important roles in maintaining good health. And let's not forget about vitamin B12, a nutrient that's essential for proper nerve function and DNA synthesis. Oysters are one of the best sources of this vitamin, making them a smart choice for anyone following a vegetarian or vegan diet. And if you're worried about the fat content of these little mollusks, fear not, oysters contain mostly monounsaturated fat, which is the same good fat found in heart-healthy olive oil. So there you have it, oysters aren't just a tasty treat, they're also a nutrient powerhouse that can help keep you healthy and strong. Bon appétit! Oysters are the ultimate water filters. Get ready to be amazed, because oysters are more than just a tasty treat, they're also nature's ultimate water filters. These slimy creatures can filter an incredible 1.3 gallons of water per hour, which is seriously impressive when you consider their small size. So, how do they do it? Well, oysters filter water in through their gills and consume food, like plankton, as part of the process. But it's not just about their own feeding habits, oysters actually play a crucial role in maintaining the balance of marine ecosystems. By reducing excess algae and sediment in the water, oysters help to prevent hypoxia, or low oxygen levels, which can lead to the death of other marine life. This means that oysters are essential to keeping our oceans and waterways healthy and thriving. In fact, the oyster population in Chesapeake Bay was once so plentiful that they could filter the entire water volume of the bay in just 3 days. Talk about a powerhouse of a filter. So, the next time you enjoy a plate of fresh oysters, take a moment to appreciate the incredible impact they have on our environment. These little mollusks may be small, but they're mighty, and they're doing their part to keep our oceans healthy and clean. Oysters are the ultimate chameleons. They take on the flavor profile of their environment. Listen up, oyster enthusiasts, we've got a juicy tidbit that will make you appreciate these bivalves even more. While it's true that most American oysters are the same species, they're far from being flavor clones. In fact, oysters get their unique flavors from the very environment in which they live and grow. You see, oysters are like little culinary sponges. They filter a whopping amount of water every hour, which means they're constantly sampling the nutrients and minerals present in their environment. This creates a distinct flavor profile that can vary widely depending on where the oyster was grown. For example, oysters grown in areas with high levels of salt may have a briny, oceanic taste, while those grown in freshwater areas may have a milder, sweeter flavor. And don't forget about the other factors at play, like the type of algae and other microorganisms that the oyster consumes. So, the next time you're slurping down some delicious oysters, take a moment to appreciate the complex flavors that are a direct result of the environment in which they were grown. It's just one more reason to love these fascinating creatures of the sea. Pearls don't only come from oysters. While oysters are known for producing pearls, they are not the only mollusk that can make them. Clams, mussels, and even abalone can also create pearls. That's right, while all oysters have the potential to produce pearls, the shiny, valuable kind that we typically think of actually come from a specific type of oyster, and even from freshwater mussels. But enough about pearls, let's talk about something even more exciting. The fact that humans have been eating and cultivating oysters for thousands of years. That's right, these slimy little mollusks have been a part of our diet since prehistoric times and have been intentionally grown and harvested since at least the days of the Roman Empire. Speaking of the Romans, did you know that one of their own, a man named Sergius Orator, was the first known person to cultivate oysters? He built a system that could control water levels and create the perfect environment for oysters to thrive, and the rest is history. So, the next time you slurp down an oyster, take a moment to appreciate the thousands of years of history and culinary tradition that led to it being on your plate. And if you happen to find a pearl in your oyster, well, that's just the icing on the cake. Oysters are shaped by their beds. It's no secret that oysters come in all shapes and sizes, but did you know that their living conditions can actually affect their physical appearance? That's right, oysters are shaped by their beds, which means that the surface they attach to and the other oysters around them can have a big impact on their overall shape. When an oyster attaches to a bed, it starts to grow and form around its surroundings, sort of like a moldable Play-Doh. And just like people, oysters can feel the pressures of their environment. If they're living in a crowded bed, they'll tend to grow longer and more elongated in order to make room for themselves. But if they have more space to spread out, they'll grow plumper and rounder. It's kind of like the saying, you are what you eat, except in this case, it's more like, you are where you live. And when it comes to oysters, their living conditions can have a big impact on their taste and texture too. So, the next time you bite into a fresh oyster, take a moment to appreciate the unique journey it's been on to get to your plate. From its shape to its flavor, every oyster is a reflection of the environment it came from, and that's pretty darn cool if you ask us. Oysters are gender benders. When it comes to the world of oysters, there are some seriously fascinating facts to uncover. But one of the most mind-blowing has to be the fact that these little mollusks are gender benders. That's right, oysters start their lives as males and then transition into females as they mature. Talk about a transformation. But wait, there's more. The shape of oysters can also vary based on their living conditions. Just like humans, oysters can feel the pressures of a crowded environment. When oysters are packed tightly together in their beds, they tend to grow in a more elongated shape, whereas those with more space grow rounder and plumper. So, what does this all mean for the oysters we love to slurp down at our favorite seafood joints? Well, it just goes to show that these little creatures are endlessly adaptable and always changing. Whether they're changing genders or changing shapes, oysters are constantly evolving in response to their environment. So, the next time you tuck into a plate of fresh oysters, take a moment to appreciate the incredible journey they've been on to get to your plate. Oysters have been around for a long time, like, a really long time. If you think you're old, just wait until you hear about oysters. These shelled sea creatures have been around for so long, they make even the most seasoned senior citizen look like a spring chicken. In fact, oysters have been hanging out on planet Earth for over 500 million years. That's right, million with an M. To put that in perspective, consider this: oysters were already ancient by the time the dinosaurs showed up on the scene. They were here before the first trees, before the first mammals, and before even the first fish evolved. But even though they've been around for so long, oysters are anything but boring. These intriguing creatures have adapted to a wide range of environments over the centuries, developing unique flavor profiles and physical characteristics depending on where they live. And with their incredible ability to filter large amounts of water, they play a vital role in maintaining the health of our oceans and the creatures that live in them. So the next time you slurp down a delicious oyster, take a moment to appreciate the fact that you are enjoying one of the oldest, most fascinating creatures on the planet. Cheers to that. Oysters are an aphrodisiac. While there is no scientific evidence to support this claim, many people believe that oysters can increase libido and enhance sexual desire. The age-old question: do oysters really make you more amorous? While science doesn't exactly back up the claims that oysters are an aphrodisiac, the myth persists. Maybe it's the texture, maybe it's the suggestion, or maybe it's just the fact that they're delicious, who knows? But if you're hoping to spice things up in the bedroom, it certainly can't hurt to try. Plus, oysters are a great source of nutrients, so even if they don't work their magic, you'll still be doing your body good. So, if you're looking to add a little romance to your life, maybe try serving up some oysters on the half shell. And that's a wrap on our top 10 oyster facts you didn't know. We hope you enjoyed learning about these slimy and scrumptious sea creatures. Who knew that oysters had so many interesting and unique features, from changing their gender to filtering water like champs? So, next time you slurp down an oyster, you can impress your friends with your newfound knowledge. And if you haven't tried oysters yet, what are you waiting for? Dive in and taste the briny goodness for yourself. And that concludes our showcase of today's topic. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, and relatives so that they too can enjoy videos on wild animals. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.